that, but how often I drank increased. And I started to drink even like during the week when nobody else wanted to drink. So that's kind of when some of my friend pattern changed. I always had a couple extra friends who drank like I did, the regular friends. And I would, touch base with them. Say could have been a Tuesday night. I'm driving around in my dad's car looking for someone to drink with because I didn't want to drink alone. And I wasn't old enough to buy it. And the 12th grade was the year I got my fake ID. So, I did whatever I needed to do. It became a need. And so my parents owned a local business, so we were pretty well known in town. And that actually stopped me from getting help for a long time because what would people think? So I would have to close my dad had a laundromat, and I'd have to close my dad's laundromat. That was my job. So at 9 o'clock when the laundromat had to close, me and my friends would pile into the laundromat, drink and clean it, and just, have a good time. And so we always had a place to go. And I just, it'd be a Tuesday night, and me and a couple friends would be in there cleaning the laundromat, drinking beers. Most people are home studying, getting ready for the next day, whatever the case may be. But I had to drink. So I found people who would drink with me. I barely graduated high school. I certainly almost failed my English exam. And that was because English was right after lunch, and for the most part I was pretty high most of the time. I was one of those people that right before graduation that was looking on the list to see if I had made it. And that didn't feel very good, There was 2 stints of summer school for me, and one was between the 10th and the 11th grade, and one was between the 11th and 12th grade. And I was supposedly grounded, and I had to go to summer school the year I was going into 12th grade. And I had a boyfriend. I always had a boyfriend, but I had a boyfriend who drank a lot, and he had to go to summer school. So we went to summer school together, and used to drink on the way home. And so I still got it in there, even though I had to stay home at night. So it was always part of my life. I managed to pass summer school. I mean, they basically made it so we could. And that's how I got out of school. That's how I got out of high school. So I was in the 12th grade, drinking increasing, and I have friends that are getting ready to go to college. And I have nothing. I have nothing planned. And I got scared and nervous and thought, what am I going to do here? So I applied to a local college, literally stayed about 10 minutes at that school, never went to class. My mom didn't want me at home anymore. I was just, I was a little bit out of control for her, and she didn't want me there. So I went to college, and I lived in the dorm, and I thought, this is cool. I got a place to live. And I didn't realize that you had to go to class in order to continue to live there. And so one day I got called into the dean's office, and he said, there seems to be a problem. And I'm like, really, what is it? And he says, well, you haven't gone to class. And I honestly hadn't even unwrapped my books. They were still in the plastic. And so I was like, yeah? And he said, well, you can't stay here. You have to go to college if you're here. So I didn't stay. He didn't let me stay. And I moved back home with my parents, which actually became a theme in my life. So I moved back home with my parents. And honestly, I worked in a grocery store and drank every night. I just drank every night. And it was at 18 when I first tried cocaine. Hanging out with, other people that are hanging out at the bar every night, and had a friend, and she said, want to try this? And I was, yes. I never hesitated. Didn't blink an eye. Anything. I would have tried anything. And, eventually did. And so, I tried cocaine, and I loved it. Loved cocaine. And that was the beginning of some tough times for me. Drinking alcohol most nights, using cocaine, not having the money, just really causing havoc in my parents' life, coming home in the middle of the night. My mother was crazy with it. She just, she was going to have it. And I didn't know how to take care of myself. I had never learned how to take care of myself. And so I had met a guy, I know, shocking, and I started going out with him, and he was quite a bit older than me. And I ended up getting pregnant after knowing him for 3 months while drinking and using cocaine. So we ended up getting married. He said, well, I'll have to marry you. And I thought, this is the answer. I'm going to be taken care of. I don't know how to take care of myself. Never thinking, how am I going to take care of a child? That just never crossed my mind. So at 19 years old, I was pregnant, married, and I stopped drinking. I was able to stop drinking during my pregnancies. I have 2 children. And I was able to stop. You know, it was the progression hadn't got to a point where I couldn't. And so I did. And, you know, I was, you know, in love and having this baby and didn't drink. My husband at the time drank a lot. He drank every day. So, caused some conflict with us. But, you know, I was so young. I just was, you know, this is where I was at. And so I gave birth to my first child in 1983. And had a daughter. And I had, she was 8 days old, and I went drinking. 8 days old, I had to go drinking. I mean, who wouldn't? You know, I had been sober for 9 months. So, and I had a husband who was saying, you deserve it. Go ahead and go. So I did. And, you know, went out and just kind of picked right back up. And started drinking, not daily anymore, but on the weekends at least. And actually, I ended up getting pregnant again. My daughter was 4 months old, and I was pregnant with my second child. And so I stopped again. I was able to stop again. And I went, you know, gave birth to him, and I had a son in 1984. So I'm 20 years, well, just 21 years old, and I have 2 children, drinking problem. Don't really know how to take care of myself, trying to do the best I can. And that went on for a while. And I ended up staying married for 10 years. And during that 10 years, my addiction really progressed. It really progressed. I started to drink. I kept it to weekends until the kids were probably in kindergarten, close to kindergarten. And, you know, I worked. I was trying to live the life of, you know, married mom, and that's really all I wanted to do, but the addiction kept creeping in. So, so it started to, I did okay while they were little. I was busy and into it. I drank on the weekends, not a lot. My husband at the time always drank more than me, so it was always about him, you know, making sure that, you know, he was okay. Good, you know, I was always looking out for him. And so when I started to drink again, the marriage was starting to become difficult, I guess. There was some, you know, domestic violence involved. That was difficult. I was young. Wasn't raised with that. I didn't know what to do about it. So I drank over it. You know, I drank over it. And about the time my kids were in kindergarten and the 2nd grade, my addiction really took off. I was using cocaine all the time. Because again, I figured out nobody can smell it on me. You know, nobody can. I just seem to be this sort of bubbly, happy kind of person, and you know, nobody saw what happened behind closed doors when I crashed, and started to feel desperate at that time. I wasn't able to take care of my kids the way I wanted to. There was one situation that, this was when they were a little older, probably 2nd and 3rd grade. They were at a skating party that the school